An about face is coming to the Federal Reserve, and that could have a big impact on gold and silver. I'll explain how and why in this video as we explore. When a member of the community asked my thoughts about the Federal Reserve cutting rates 4 times in the near future, well, I thought it was fake news. I didn't hear anything about this, but nonetheless, that's exactly what JP Morgan is saying, and based off of some of the information I've been able to acquire, it looks like that may be the case, mainly from the Fed Watch tool, as what they think is going to be happening in the next 4 meetings for the Fed. It's all going to be cuts, and a big one will be coming right around the corner. So let's get into this. But before we do, I'm going to remind you, channel sponsor Summit Metals, summitmetals.com. They have all your gold, silver, and now platinum needs. So check them out at summitmetals.com. So MarketWatch is reporting about what the bank's chief economic strategist expects for the Fed that will deliver a rate cut in September, followed by 3 more in subsequent meetings from JP Morgan. Now, their top U.S. economist now expects the Federal Reserve will cut interest rates 3 times in 2025, beginning with a 25 basis point cut in September. The change comes after President Donald Trump on Thursday nominated Stephen Miron, chairman of the President's Council of Economic Advisors, to fill a vacant seat on the central bank's Board of Governors. Michael Feroli, the bank's chief U.S. economist, had previously expected the Fed to cut rates just once this year in December. Feroli now expects the central bank will start cutting again next month, with an additional cut at each of the Fed's subsequent 3 meetings in October, December, and January. The Fed delivered a 50 basis point rate cut in September of 2024. 2 more 25 basis points cuts followed in November and December, but the central bank has been on hold ever since. A pause is what they call it, with Chairman Jerome Powell saying the central bank is waiting to assess the impact of Trump's tariffs on consumer prices. Well, the thing is we're going to have to wait quite a while to really get the full impact of that anyway. And I think we have enough data out there that probably we should cut, and largely because of the interest that the government is having to pay on the debt. We're paying over $1 trillion in interest now. So the JP Morgan economist explicitly linked the change in his call to Trump's decision to pick Miron to fill a recently vacated seat on the Fed's board. Trump has said Miron will only serve in the role until January, when the term of departing Governor Adriano Kugler had been slated to end. Although Miron has in the past argued for the Fed to keep interest rates high, Feroli said he doubts the economist who has a PhD from Harvard will still hold that view. More recently, he has argued against the notion that the new levies Trump has imposed since returning to the White House will lead to a meaningful uptick in price pressures. And remember, folks, silver, especially compared to gold, has reacted to the potential Fed rate cut in September, already climbing up a bit. And I had mentioned in that video that it was bad news because it was too early to bake in such a move in the prices, and then it would essentially lose steam in momentum. And I got some flack from that because people didn't understand what I was saying in that video. But nonetheless, now with this change and this metric and this assessment by JP Morgan has been really essentially followed through with the Fed Watch tool polling that we see. So now in September, it actually, believe it or not, has come down slightly. It's 88.9% believe we're going to see that quarter rate cut, with only 11% thinking it's going to remain the same. And that target rate, by the way, is 425 to 450 basis points. So that is what is coming up on the 17th of September. On the 29 October meeting, well, the majority, 57%, believe it's going to be another rate cut. Only 39% believe they're going to leave the rate at 400 to 425. In other words, to keep that quarter point cut and to pause at that meeting. So it looks like the trend is moving in that direction. And then we have the 10th of December meeting, where that meeting, if I can get to it here, believe that a majority believe another rate cut, 46.7 down to 350 to 375 at that point in time, which is slightly edging over another 42.3% who believe that they will pause at that meeting. So it's relatively close, but we're seeing a trend emerging. And then we go to the first the first meeting in January 28th of 2026. We are starting to see things move where about 44.8% believe they're not going to do anything at that meeting. They'll leave rates unchanged. So there's still some. It's far enough out that we're not sure exactly what it's going to be, but these numbers will probably be very fluid in the next couple of months here. But 19.6% believe they're going to do another quarter point cut, which means a full point down from where it is right now to 325 to 350. Right now it's at 425 to 450. So that gives you an idea of what participants are feeling for where the rate cuts are going according to the Fed Watch tool. Now, while rushing CEA chair's confirmation through the Senate ahead of the Fed's next meeting might prove to be a heavy lift, it is certainly possible, Ferrulli said. And although the new Fed governors have sometimes observed a tradition of not voting during their first meeting, the J.P. Morgan economist doubts Moran would do the same. So, two board governors, Christopher Waller, who is reportedly in the running to be the next Fed chairman, and Michelle Bowman, broke with Powell and the rest of the committee and voted in favor of a rate cut at the central bank's meeting in July. That is almost pretty much unprecedented to see that kind of a break. The two members have voted against that. That marked the first time since 1993 that two Fed governors have dissented on a policy vote. A third dissent might make leaving rates on hold unfeasible, even if inflation sees an uptick or the employment rate declines. Should the unemployment rate rise to 4.4% or higher at the August jobs data, due in a couple weeks before the Fed plans to meet, a 50 basis point cut in September might be a possibility, Ferrulli said. So that could be a doozy. And if that happens, folks, watch gold and silver. I think they're going to go up. And I think it's going to be, in a sense, this is a surprise move, and we may start to see the baking in of gold and silver support pretty profound here on out. In other words, the best way to do this is to be cautiously optimistic for gold and silver to maintain their support levels around $38 an ounce and $4,000 gold, or $3,900 or somewhere thereabout. And if we can maintain those levels, and then we get more clues and indications that they're going to cut to another 25 basis points in September above and beyond the expected 25 basis points, watch out. I think gold and silver could climb precipitously and in a northerly direction. That is, we're talking about maybe even $4,200 gold and $42 silver. Wouldn't that be something? I think that is quite a possibility if we get a shock and surprise with some of these numbers. But of course, knowing now that we have that same BLS person is not there anymore, Bureau of Labor Statistics statistician is not there, that means that maybe the numbers will be a little different. I don't know. We'll see. We call them the chefs at the Cook the Books Club for a reason, and it's been happening for quite a while. Do we really trust the numbers? And so we'll see. And if Trump puts somebody in there, well, are they going to cook the numbers in Trump's favor? We want somebody who is nonpartisan in that position. But it's very difficult to find such these days. It seems like that in either direction. Notwithstanding, we will follow the news and see what happens here. But it's amazing. This community is great because somebody is going to know something I don't, and I had not heard about the four rate cuts possible coming. I was like, wow, that was a shock to me. So I wanted to report on it. I forget who that was, but whoever that was, I appreciate you letting me know about it. But this is a massive pivot that is going to be coming soon, likely to occur. So we'll find out. Now, I like to bring you the latest news in the world of precious metals. And if you find what I do here informative, insightful, and useful, I hope you will consider subscribing to the channel below. I am trying to grow, and I hope you will continue watching as well. I do post daily videos of the latest news, so I hope you will continue to watch with news and analysis on the world of precious metals. I am the most active channel in the precious metal space on YouTube. So I want to thank all of you for being here, and I'd like to extend a multitude of gratitude to you all for taking this time to watch, and to encourage you to please rate, share, comment, and subscribe.